100%.
We want to bring in now, facing South Florida and CBS News Miami's Jim DeFede to talk about these race results today. No surprise, really, in the Miami-Dade mayoral race. Danielle Levine-Cava will keep her job. But one of the interesting things there is that is a nonpartisan race, but we know her party is Democratic. And now we're looking at partied races for sheriff. Do you think her winning is a good sign, perhaps, for the Democratic candidate for sheriff? Is there any connection?
Reyes is on her ticket. Reyes is somebody who is that. But let's stay with Cava for a second, because that sound of her, that soundbite, you know, this is a woman who just won the mayor's race with 58% of the vote, and she's still angry. Like, she did not, she came across there like she was still bitter over the folks who were coming at her and claiming they were lying about her campaign and the rest of it. Look, I've had my issues with Danielle Levine-Cava in terms of her accepting responsibility for problems that are going on in the county, but she is immensely popular. She's popular because of a number of things. She handled, for instance, the issues surrounding the Surfside building collapse really well. She got high marks for that. She handled COVID really well during her tenure. So I think there were a lot of things that she's done that she was able to run on, but you can say from that clip that we just played of her on her victory night, rather than be gracious, she was still a little angry about all of it, and that's the part of her that tends to get her in trouble.
A lot of people would say, well, she didn't have any strong opposition tonight. Would you agree with that?
I would be, and it's funny because it's one of the things I actually asked the chair of the Miami-Dade Republican Party on Sunday was the Miami-Dade Republicans and the state Republicans are talking about how powerful they are now and how they expect Donald Trump to win Dade County in November. And I said, well, if Republicans are so powerful, why didn't you mount a stronger campaign against Danielle Levine-Cava, who everyone knows is the most prominent Democrat in the state right now? And basically the answer was, well, we didn't think we could beat her. And so you know, politics will only take you so far in terms of party affiliation.
All right, so you mentioned that the Democratic candidate now for sheriff, James Reyes, is on her ticket, so to speak, even though this is a nonpartisan office. Now the sheriff's office will be, and we are going to see Rosie Cordero-Stutz versus James Reyes there. How does that race shape up in your mind?
Well, first off, let's talk about the one thing. The two candidates running both live in Broward County. So the Miami-Dade Sheriff will be a resident of Broward County unless they decide to move in. That'll be one of the questions I think they should both get asked as we move forward in this campaign. Will you commit to moving to Miami-Dade County if you're going to serve here? That'll be a question. But really, it's going to be an interesting race. And when you listen to Rosie Cordero-Stutz talk, she immediately pivoted to, this is not a partisan race. And one of the reasons why she wants to sort of go that direction, she said a couple of things. In her speech, she said, as Republicans, we need to unite to try to move forward for November. But she also said answering 911 calls is not, you know, we don't answer calls whether or not somebody's a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. The job of the Sheriff's Department is going to be to help everyone regardless of party affiliation. That's an important line for her to say because, again, we don't know necessarily if having Donald Trump's endorsement will be good for her in a November election in Dade County, where there are still more Democrats than there are Republicans in Miami-Dade County. So she's going to have an interesting walked race. I will say that between her and Reyes, she has far more experience in the sense that she is currently the assistant director, the number 3 person in the Miami-Dade Police Department as the assistant director. Reyes, as he pointed out, has 22 years of experience, but all of it at the Broward Sheriff's Office, where he was mainly a corrections officer. And here's another interesting fact. He is not a licensed law enforcement officer. He is a licensed corrections officer. So in other words, he's never made a traffic stop. He's never knocked on the door of a domestic violence case and had to deal with warring family members and that sort of thing. So I think that's going to be one of the interesting juxtapositions that Rosie Cordero-Stutz is going to bring in talking and challenging James Reyes. And so it's going to be a fascinating race, and it's a major change, as you said, Elliot. We haven't had a sheriff since 1966, and the reason, I'll just say briefly, because the last couple of sheriffs we had before we switched to this system went to prison because of corruption. And that's always a concern when you politicize law enforcement officers.
This is a whole new world that we're entering right now, where so many offices have been politicized because of the constitutional amendment that was passed by the state of Florida a number of years ago.
66 other counties all elect sheriffs. Dade County was the only one. The Florida Sheriff's Association made it a point to change that, and in 2018 they pushed and got the constitutional amendment so that Miami-Dade has to elect a nonpartisan sheriff now.
And here we are.
Talking so much about sheriffs, got to mention Broward County. Their sitting sheriff won the race again, Gregory Toney. Earlier today, you said he doesn't talk to the media. Doesn't look like he has any sort of party tonight. We just got a statement. That seems pretty much par for the course for Sheriff Toney here.
Yeah, he sort of charts his own path on a lot of these things. And he's had a rocky relationship with the media. He's had a rocky relationship with the community. He was a DeSantis appointee into that position.
But he runs as a Democrat.
But he runs as a Democrat now. And, you know, there were a lot of things, some minor scandals from his personal life, from his childhood that have surfaced from time to time. But, you know, he is taking half the votes. And, you know, whether or not I think there's a Republican challenger in that race. I'm not 100% sure, but in Broward.
Does it matter?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That's exactly right. Democrats in Broward County still control things the way Democrats in Miami-Dade used to, but don't anymore.
And that could arguably be the most important elected office in Broward County. Would you say that?
I would say their budget is massive, their responsibilities are huge, and I would also argue the sheriff's position in Dade County will be that as well.
Yeah, because the mayor's office in Broward is very different from the mayor in Miami-Dade, where there's a strong mayor, so things look different from county to county.
It really does, yeah.
All right.
All right, Jim, thank you.